Hello and welcome to Galactic Developments. Galactic Developments is a history of the future told in many events on a common timeline.
Year 2390. Expedition to the ninth planet.
Private message. From Calixto's Keimakatsu on board the Gahara Stan 9, on the return flight from Pontus, Planet 9, at the 1000 astronomical units mark.
Hello, darling. There are now only 1000 astronomical units left until we are home. Less than a year. Pontos was incredible. We are all still completely stunned. There was not much to see in the visible spectrum. 1000 astronomical units from the sun, you have to look very closely to see anything at all. But in the infrared, we saw the planet's landscape in splendor. In the inner solar system, there are gas giants with thick atmospheres, bands of clouds, and storms. Out here, so far from the sun, there is only ice. The whole atmosphere is frozen. Pontos is an ice giant. Yet Pontos is not just a chunk of ice. There are mountains, canyons and scree fields, even sand deserts with dunes of fine ice grains, like diamond dust. Everything here is made of ice, different ice. Water ice is rock hard at these temperatures. Water ice plays here the role of stone and rock. There are ice volcanoes from which in the past a mixture of water and ammonia erupted like lava. Pontos apparently had plate tectonics in the past with huge ice mountains folding. In active phases of Pontos there was even weather, tremendous weather. Ammonia rain washed out deep canyons from water ice mountains. The Grand Canyon would be lost in them. So would the Valles Marineris on Mars. Not to forget the Theia Basin. A crater larger than the Earth. A long time ago, an object the size of Mars must have crashed into it. A cataclysmic event. It caused the whole planet to melt. After that the planet was active for millions of years, like the Earth with volcanism, tectonics, weather, rain, rivers, and oceans. That was the time when all we see now was created. From the mountain ranges and volcanoes, to water ice sand along the beaches of ammonia seas. And then of course the sculptures. Where ice emerged from the ground, it froze in all kinds of shapes, sometimes in smooth shapes like a petrified waterfall, sometimes with razor-sharp edges, pinnacles, and corners. There are geometric cones that have, had a water channel inside, having grown around it. There are slender columns, whole fields of ice columns, as if built by the ancient Greeks. And figures and sculptures, an infinite number of shapes. Some are white like snow due to fine air bubbles. Many are transparent, some crystal clear, others with regular patterns. There is a formation we called the spires, columns hundreds of meters tall as if made of glass and crystal blue ice curtains in between. All that is now frozen. Like suddenly petrified amidst the movement, simply marvelous. I must be returning to my analysis now. See you soon.
End of private message. Next private message. From Calixto's Keimakatsu on board the Gahara Stan 9, 999 astronomical units from Sol, 3 months after the accident.
Hi honey. Bad news. Ayan can't get the drive to work. She says we have been pretty lucky. We all knew the journey would be risky. The matter density out here is so low that you don't really expect to hit anything. Must have been a decent asteroid. At full speed, 2 million kilometers is enough proximity for its gravitational field to damage our FTL system when it runs under load. Ayan says, and I quote, on a whole 0.2 tau, the fractality of the converters is below 4.8, as far as Susie can measure it. Susie is our FTL engineering AI. Tech gibberish. I ask Ayan what this means. She says, the converter poles are fractals. They have to be as fine as possible, down to nanometers. A value of 3.0 as the fractal dimension would be perfect. But that is only theoretical. They try to get as close as possible, 3.0 minus a little bit. In our case the little bit would be 10 to the power of minus 4.8. If the number is smaller, then the distance to 3 is larger and the Levy effect collapses. There is more. Something with virtual particles, negative energy, quantum violation and so on. Anyway, when we passed the asteroid, some superfine structures in the converter poles were distorted. They clump together. In other words, the converter poles are trash. We can't fix that here. True, we do have fabs for all our daily needs as micromakes, but the Bush robots in the factory supposedly spent a full 2 years assembling the converter poles for our ship. That's a totally different game. I'm going to get back to you when I know more.
End of private message. Next private message. From Calixto's Keimakatsu on board the Gahara Stan 9, 999 astronomical units from Sol, 4 months after the accident.
Hello you three. Most of the data is now analyzed. The drive is still not working. Unfortunately there seems to be no capacity for a rescue mission. Understandable, this flight was expensive enough. There is not enough bandwidth for an info evacuation either. We are stuck out here. Your dad's gonna be late. Ask Mom. I'm hugging you all. This part is only for Mom. We have to switch off here. The engine is not only broken. It's also radioactive. Ayan says that this often happens after converter accidents. The radiation disrupts the reactor. We are running out of energy. Susie and the other AIs are already off. Our micro-mech shells have also been shut down. Only the HICs, our human infomorph cores, are still running. We are already in the virtual reality habitat. We are now going into hibernation. Only the proximity sensor remains active. We will not notice anything. Time will fly by. For us. I'm sorry. I kiss you.
End of private message. The ship log, 37 years after the accident. Gahara Stan 9, 999 astronomical units from Sol, 2427.
Passive radar, signal, source, distance 13 million kilometers. Controller, send identification via comm laser. Controller, activate human infomorph core, Captain, Rashid Agarwal. Comm laser, message received, we are coming to get you.
End of ship log. This was Galactic Developments, year 2390.
I am a physicist and I have always been interested in history. That's a good combination for the history of the future. I want to stay as close as possible to reality. Above all, this applies to technology, which should be scientifically sound, or at least reasonably explainable. But it also applies to social and economic developments. If you think that I have presented something unrealistically, write me in the comments. Or, if I've raised more questions than I've answered, please also ask me in the comments. If you like the video, please hit the like button. If you subscribe and click the bell icon, you'll be notified of new episodes. Of course, sharing on social media would be nice. More events from the future can be found at galactic-developments.com. If you have a futuristic topic you'd like me to discuss, drop me a line. If you want to use an idea or add something yourself, feel free to do so. There are already hundreds of events, but I would love to read other stories from this future. Write me if I can help. The future starts now.